Alright, ebusia for me ma obi bia kwa basoro kon eba possible TV GH. Eni ye kwan so me gidi sa adom ne ahwe yin tonwa kopo adom ye nyina ye ho ye. Eni ye kwan so enen ye kan ya we ni eto channel so YouTuber. The best also be jibre no ahwe video no amana kwa wie wo hwe ya no like wa comment wa subscribe ya no share content no so ama oni e bi so nye videos ni bi ahwe. Ebusia be dia de answer se menya gima kunya se ya na eche se oman konkon Ghana emu nsem e na ye be pensen mu na me no ka se odi ba ku bi adrop. Yan konko tie na e ba na ya kire adwen ewo.
A criminal lawyer was an investigative journalist. Ewa America Bruchimemu, your friend lawyer Mark O'Brien. Lawyer Mark O'Brien. Ena anopei wadi ensem kakra edi atudwan. Ani ensem a woka eye with regards to ensem a investigative journalist Manaseh Azuri Awuni. Any other aye journalist bi edi atutudwa with regards to Anas Erimiyaw Anas. The case onyaye oni honorable Kennedy Agyapong ema justice eriba ewuli edema Kennedy Agyapong na yebehe ensemwa Anas Manaseh Azuri awuni koka yentia enei an investigative journalist in the United States ya wasan criminal lawyer Mark O'Brien watu to be edi amano wasay no one is killing investigative journalism in Ghana but the stupidity of the journalist does. A criminal lawyer and an investigative journalist in the United States, Mark O'Brien, say no one is killing investigative journalism in Ghana, but the stupidity of journalists does. Now, Manaseh Azuri Awuni at the ensemble kotuja immediately Justice Eric Ban edin ruling Babontin. And no enamane when you have this strong reply from another investigative journalist and a criminal lawyer in the United States. And some men Manaseh ko kan ye nei ama ye this reply na bre. Manaseh ko twere on the Facebook or say it hurts when judges are lumped together and tarred with the same brush of indignity and scorn. I'm not a judge, but it hurts because I have been in courtrooms and observed judges who deliver justice with such diligence, thoroughness, and professionalism that I could feel their pain when the action of a few judges drags all judges in the mud. Just say, Justice Eric Bana and Manaseh Azuri no or attacking Wahano. One such instance is the toxic social media commentary about the judiciary in the wake of the judgment in the defamation case Anas Erimiyaw Anas brought up against the MP for Asin Central, Kennedy Agyapong. When someone first shared excerpts of the judgment on a WhatsApp platform, my immediate comment was to caution those commenting not to attack Anas until they had read the judgment. I insisted that what was posted was more like someone's personal commentary and slant than what was contained in the judgment. In my wildest imagination, I did not think a judge who was called to adjudicate a defamation case would descend so low into an arena of criminal pronouncements and write a judgment that reads as though the judge was now making fresh defamatory comments against the defendant. Having followed the case a bit, however, the outcome did not come as a surprise. Unfortunately, Chief Justice Eni Yabua played a disturbing role in a process that served as a premonition of what was to come. On December the 15th, 2021, I wrote a post on Facebook with the title Twist and Turns in Anas Kennedy Agyapong's case with documentary evidence I wrote. The following are the facts I gathered from my sources as an explanation to the following document. 1. Anas Erimiyaw Anas sued Kennedy Agyapong for defamation in 2018. 2. Justice Daniel Mensah, the Domahine, was the judge handling the case. 3. In the latter part of 2020, Justice Daniel Mensah was transferred to Tema. A court of appeal judge, Justice Eric Ban, was appointed interim judge to handle the case pending the appointment of a substantive judge. 4. In June 2021, a substantive judge was appointed to continue the case. From my investigation, I was told she is Justice Gifty Agyapong, the judge who overturned the General Legal Counsel's suspension of Francis Xavier Susu from practicing as a lawyer. 5. On December 1st, 2021, Anas and his team discovered in court that the substantive judge had been taken off the case and the interim judge had returned. They had no idea what had happened. They were given an explanation by the judge when it came up in court later. 6. On the blind side of Anas and his legal team, Kennedy Agyapong had written to the Chief Justice to request that the interim judge should return to continue the case. 7. The reason Kennedy Agyapong and his lawyers gave was that the interim judge had observed the demeanor of the parties and is abreast with details of the case, including its nature and scope. The substantive judge, Kennedy Agyapong said, would take time to familiarize herself with the case. She also does not have the benefit of the demeanor of the witnesses so far. 8. A week after receiving Kennedy Agyapong's letter, Chief Justice Enin Yebua directed Justice Eriba to go back and continue the case as Kennedy Agyapong requested in his letter to the Chief Justice. 9. When Anas and his legal team expressed their confusion upon seeing the interim judge in court, Justice Eriba said he had been directed by the Chief Justice to continue the case. He added that Anas and his team were expected to have been served with Kennedy Agyapong's petition and the Chief Justice's directive, but that was not done. I am not a lawyer, but I am wondering whether it is normal for one party in a case to write to the Chief Justice to suggest a judge without the knowledge of the other party and have that wish granted. As per the reasons given by the defendant, if for any reasons Justice Eriba is unable to continue working as a judge, won't the case continue with another judge who may not know the demeanor of the witnesses? International said, and someone Manaseh Azuri Awuni eka nyina kire se Chief Justice Eni Yebu Abuai and ama Kennedy Agyapong weni na adenti na substantive judge no woman no ya manan traso be also woman yi na nanka Ghana Legal Council stop have ye Susu say onye lawyer no overturn is a ruling no te say ensense bebrebe eno na investigative journalist ya wo fi America Brichimemu ya was sign criminal lawyer Marco Bryan say no one is killing investigative journalists in Ghana, but the stupidity of the journalists does. I am reading with shock that sends cold chill down one spine regarding the views expressed by the seeming most second popular and famous investigative journalist in Ghana, Manaseh Azuri, on the judgment pronounced on Anas Erimiyao Anas defamation suit against Kennedy Agyapong, Honorable by High Court Judge Eriba on March 15, 2023. Without wasting any breath, let me inform and educate Manaseh Azuri that the proofs as adduced by Kennedy Agyapong in his rebuttal, Who Watches the Watchman, to that of then acclaimed robust investigative journalism by Anas are more than sufficient to convince even a doubting Thomas to see how criminal Anas is. What Anas Erimiyao Anas and his Tiger IPI had and have been doing is not any investigative journalism. Come to the United States and see how proper investigative journalism is done. What they are doing is pure blackmailing, extortion, harassment, and intimidation to plant fear in Ghanaians. Speaking as one with security background and knows how criminal investigations are conducted to detect and prevent crimes, all that Anas has been doing, as supported by Manaseh, is pure charlatanry intended for amassing illegal wealth at the ignorance and expense of Ghanaians. His job cannot be accepted for facts seeing how he sets up people and later edits his video recordings to suit his purpose to present to the unsuspecting Ghanaian public. Criminal investigations are conducted when a crime has been committed to establish when, how, why, and who committed it. Criminal investigations are conducted on intelligence report to prevent crime from taking place by putting in place detection measures to nab the would-be perpetrators of the intended crime. You don't just set up hidden recording cameras, invite people over, propose to them business deals, offer them monetary gifts only to accuse them of accepting bribes. Manaseh, come over to the civilized white man's land. Let me use the United States for example, where I practice my profession, to see if Anas Erimiyao Anas would be walking in the streets a free man without suffering a libel lawsuit or lingering in prisons by now. You cannot set up people as he does, extort from them, and expect a competent judge worth his salt to make a ruling in his favor on his character assassination suit against Kennedy Agyapong, into bracket, honorable. The judge was right to have described Anas the way he did in his ruling. If the law allows for jailing people in such criminal circumstances, I will have recommended the judge send him to months or years in prison to serve a bitter lesson to him and his colluding criminals. Manaseh, let me put it to you that the way Anas goes about his work is not and can never be investigative journalism, but an illegal way to enrich himself through exploitation of his victims. Is there any credible investigative journalist in this world that would engage in the Anas's method of investigative journalism? No. From what you, Manaseh Azuri, have written and what Anas and his crew have indulged in, I doubt if there is any credible investigative journalist in Ghana. I doubt it. Seeing from the behaviors of Anas and you, Manaseh, come over to the America and even to Europe to learn more about proper investigative journalism that goes with responsibility and consequences. Wow. Wow. From an investigative journalist, lawyer Mark O'Brien, was signed double as a criminal lawyer in the United States. Manaseh Azuri Awuni. Yakramo.